Right now in my hands, one have the ultimate Game Boy, yes, another one of those portable consoles that come with hundreds of video games. But on this occasion, a very special console, because not only is it very powerful and capable of moving whatever you can think of, but it also comes with an in-plane switching display that is capable of presenting beautiful graphics. And on top of all that, this device is presented at a very competitive and very interesting price. I'll comment on that, but let's go step by step. One in my hands right now, one have the Trimui brick, that's the name of the model. And on this occasion, the console is courtesy of these people from the digital store MechDIY, who sent me this little console, and of course, a store that one recommend. Because it's one of those stores that one have used to get the rest of my portable consoles. By the way, one have quite a few. All from the Trimui store, which is highly recommended. Yes, one have an Assassin's Creed Shadows fan. The packaging of the Trimui brick is quite decent. And it has one of those hard cardboard boxes that if you're going to give a gift, they look pretty good. Because they give quality. Well, it's kind of poorly closed because you know how this is. One have been testing and using this product and one repackaged it to show you how it arrives. One T comes upside down with the big console on one side, along with a manual that one highly recommend reading as it contains quite interesting information. Above all, it explains how you can connect this console via cable or even wirelessly to another console to play cooperatively. One suggests reading the manual. The accessories include the usual cable and buttons as well as extra buttons. Let's go through it step by step. The console, properly protected in its protective nylon with its rubber band. This is typical of Trimui, and of course with its film that one avoided removing until this moment. One was dying to do it. The first thing that stands out at first glance about this console is the construction, because it is made of plastic. Very thick, quite beautiful, with a semi-matte finish and an aluminum back, which gives it a quite important quality feel. Besides all that, we are talking about a quite heavy console. And you know, when something feels heavy, it feels good. One don't know why, but it is. The size of the console is quite small. Not as small as it looks in my hands, because one have big hands, but it is small. Look, for example, here one have an Xbox controller, which is a traditional controller from an alternative brand, but a traditional controller. And here is the little console. See? Well, we have rather small dimensions. However, as the saying goes, it's not. All that matters is the size, right? Because we are dealing with a system that is capable of emulating what you can think of. Right now, one have the screen brightness at minimum, because otherwise it's very difficult for me to record. But one of the advantages this console has over other similar models is that it comes with an in-plane switching panel with quite significant brightness, and the operating system that comes installed is quite simple and quite intuitive. You don't have to be a genius to understand it. We have in a menu where we can see all the consoles, which this little console is capable of emulating, presented through their joysticks or the console itself. We have an applications menu where we can access certain functions and so on. A quick settings menu for Wi-Fi, because this console is Wi-Fi. For Bluetooth, because Bluetooth controllers can be connected, sound, video and so on. We have a game collection section where we can quickly access Pokemon games, Sonic, the Turtles, Zelda and so on. That is like a kind of pre-selection of games. And we have a section where the most recent games we were testing are saved. The systems we can play on this console are the typical ones. The usual ones, you have the 3DO, the Amiga, the Ataris, Capcom's arcades, Game Watch, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, Sega Genesis, Mega Drive, PlayStation Portable, Sega Dreamcast, 2DS, 3DS, that is, the typical ones, the usual ones. Getting more or less to emulate well up to the Dreamcast. But honestly, one don't think that's the most interesting thing to play on this system. Because it has a configuration, as you will see, very much like a Game Boy. It serves to play whatever you can think of. but it is much more enjoyable because of the button layout. Playing games that only use the D-pad and these little buttons, and that's it. At most, since it has buttons on the back, you can play some Mega Drive games. Or something that requires 6 or 8 buttons, but that is only controlled with a D-pad. This Trimui brick supports connection via Bluetooth. And you can connect a Bluetooth controller and play anything that requires analogs or anything like that, but playing with a controller on such a small screen doesn't make much sense. Besides, the charm of this is that it's portable, and having to carry a controller to play doesn't make much sense. You can also connect the controller via USB-C. But again, one also finds it totally unnecessary. One of the nicest aspects of this little console, and that give it that quality feel it has, is the screen, an in-plane switching screen 4:3 ratio that has a very decent pixel density and allows a very dignified resolution to see on this type of devices. Let me show you some game. We have an impressive graphic quality, and in addition to this, the operating system that this little console brings allows us to add certain visual effects to the games that will give a different aspect to our games. Like this one here, that adds a filter as if it were from a tube TV, rounds and curves the edges, and also adds some small lines to the screen, which results in an appearance that we would have if we were playing on an old tube TV. That is, those TVs that we had at home before, as you can see. It's beautiful, and one thing, it's a great way to relive classic games from Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, and all those consoles. Which, by the way, it handles all those consoles as if it were nothing. One of the things one perhaps like least about the console is that all the menu and the entire operating system and the options we have and so on are presented as a transparency over the game we are playing, and with a very small letter that is very hard to read. For example, to look for the preset of this tube TV, it takes me a while, because honestly one can't read it when it's so small. I'm not sure if it's visible in the video due to the small font size. What we're playing right now is the Batman from Mega Drive, which with the tube filter which distorts the image looks spectacular. Let's put another one from Sega that looks a bit brighter so you can appreciate it. One thing, we can put some Sonic. Well, this is how the game looks now. One mean, full screen, and without any kind of filter. But you must have noticed one really liked the tube TV filter, so one I'm also going to put it on. Here it is, what a beauty, my god. As for the sound we have, 2 speakers and stereo sound, and it's pretty decent. The console's little speakers are down here. Sometimes they get a bit covered by the fingers when we play, but it sounds good. And also on the upper left side we have quick access to turn the volume up and down. It's also quite practical, as with any of these devices. We can also do the typical thing of opening the menu and saving in any of the slots that we have available to save the game. And there our game is saved. We can save several times, even in several slots, and then the same, load the slot we want at the time we want. The game has the usual features. Other notable elements include a charging connector underneath and a headphone connector, which is quite interesting. The device has a button, likely for resetting, and a micro SD card slot. On the side we have the volume, on the other side the power on and off button, and the vibration selector because it has a vibration motor. On top there's an LED light bar, and on the back there are R and L buttons that aren't very useful if you're going to play classic games. Although one of the most interesting features and details we found on this console is that these buttons can be removed. And you can replace them with other little buttons that come in the package. They have different dimensions and materials to enhance the red, green, blue. Because yes, we have red, green, blue. Not only do these little buttons on the front light up, but we also have buttons on the back that light up, obviously. All these red, green, blue options make the console shine. They can be changed, nullified, varied. You can set different patterns, colors, turn off, turn on, increase, decrease, and all that. All from the system. We've seen many of these devices, and in fact, I've reviewed many of these devices on the channel. But without a doubt, this Trimui brick is the prettiest of them all. Is cute, feels premium, looks gorgeous. The screen quality is impressive. And also, with these filters, what we're seeing looks great. Let's see if one can play like this. What we're seeing is great. Just look at it, it looks gorgeous. Well, they killed me there. The buttons are small. They are push button type. The ones that make a tiki-tiki sound. These two buttons here are configurable. One thing, they're currently set to turn off the LED. Yes. To turn off the LED, and that's it. Tiki-tiki. The ones down here are the start, the select, and one more from the console itself. Tiki-tiki. And not much more. We have a simple console, but quite powerful and capable of running any of the games we'd like to play easily, smoothly, and simply. They sell it to you as it comes, with nothing. Or they also sell it with the SD card that one have installed here, with games and all that. One is a good point, but how much does this thing cost? One can't remember. It cost under $80. But let me check. To the computer, tiki-tiki. And we're going to check the price directly from the MechDIY page. Since, well, they were so kind to send us this console for the review. Let's see how much it costs on their own page. That's right, one forgot to say it. This console is new, it just came out, it was released last week, and it's the newest model from the Trimui brand. One don't know if you remember the Trimui brand. Or Trimui, I'm unsure of the accent, developed this and released it this year. Which was known as the Chinese PlayStation Portable. Well, supposedly this little one is this, but reduced. And it's directly on the first page of MechDIY. Because it just came out, they just launched it. Match like Christmas sale, and where are all the consoles? Here it is. This is the one was just telling you about. This one have here, Trimui brick, here it is. One is also very beautiful in black. By, damn it, 110. Okay, one thought it was cheaper. In fact, one don't know why one saw it cheaper. Here it is, here it is, here it is. One knew it was cheaper. One knew it was cheaper. Just the console, without the SD, without the micro SD, better said, without all the games. One is costing you $80. Now, if you want it with the 128 GB game SD, then it costs you $110, which is in this case, the one have here. Which, by the way, one should mention that it came with a branded micro SD. One don't know if it's original or not. They usually come with very cheap Chinese micro SDs, but this one is good. If you wanted to take only the hardware, that is just the gadget, it would cost you $80. But keep in mind that it won't come with the games. And one thing, it won't come with an operating system. This needs to be investigated. One thing, the $81 only comes with the console, without the operating system. One should know this. Anyway, one just realized something. Maybe buying it without the games and without the operating system doesn't make much sense. Because for Christmas, they are giving you a 20% discount code, which is this one here. If we copy it and choose, for example, the console that comes with the memory card, at the moment when we are going to pay for the games, if we apply the discount code, it gives us a big discount. And it leaves us with $90 for the console. Well, here it says 94 because at some point one clicked on a shipping protection. One don't know how to remove it. In fact, if we only took the base console, which is $80, and we applied the discount, nothing happens. One seems that the discount is only for the one that comes with the games and all that stuff. Well, $90, one said 80, one was off by 10. Remember, the code is this one here, CM18, for the composition of materials it has, for how it looks, for how it plays, and above all, for how premium it looks. $90 doesn't seem like a bad price. Of all the retro consoles, one I've tested on this channel, and all the ones one have had, this is without a doubt the prettiest. And maybe if you were looking for a little console of this style to play Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, why not? It runs it quite well. In fact, you can switch between the two screens, Mega Drive or PlayStation 1 games or arcades that don't require the two analogs. Well, it's a great option, and if you're looking for a retro console but this one doesn't suit you or doesn't convince you, rather, why not check out one of these two? Want to have more retro consoles here on this channel? Or why not check out the MechDIY store that has an 18% discount with that code we just discovered, and that also has shipments. Friends, thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye. Thanks.